Last Tuesday I buried my husband, but the truth was even worse. Did I marry a stranger to make my parents happy, or did I marry a man with a hidden name and a secret plan? My palms still shake when I think of the hotel suite where we said our vows. I had a reservation because my parents paid for everything. I wanted to please them. I told myself it was only one night, one duty. However, on the first night in the suite, I learned he had lied to me. He smiled like a kind man, but he spoke like a stranger. He asked small, strange questions about my childhood. He knew nothing about my tastes, but he knew the hotel's every corner. I watched him in the lobby, asking the receptionist about our complimentary breakfast. I thought he was shy. I was wrong. That first morning, I found a small card in the drawer with a name I never heard. I felt betrayed and curious. Who was he? Why did he hide this? The story began with one secret, and then everything changed. My name is Aisha. I said yes because my parents hoped for a secure life for me. I did not love him. I wanted to be kind. The ceremony was small in a resort chapel. The receptionist smiled at our tired faces. Housekeeping left fresh towels and a complimentary fruit plate in our suite. We had no large guest list. My parents sat in the lobby with quiet faces. They thought I made the right choice. I wore the navy silk dress my mother liked. He wore a dark suit. His hands were warm. On the way to the suite I looked at him. He seemed polite but quiet. He had an honest face. I told myself I would try. I promised my parents I would be patient. That night, in the suite, he asked about my school, my work, my old friends. I answered in short sentences. He smiled and said he liked simple things. I believed him. The first night passed with soft talk and small laughs. In the morning we walked to the breakfast room. The concierge greeted us like old friends. He shook my husband's hand with respect. I felt strange. Later, when I opened the wardrobe, I found a card with the name of the resort owner. The name on the card matched my husband's surname. I felt a cold knot in my stomach. He had not talked about his job. He had not told me about money or family. He had said he worked at a small office. He had not said he owned a place like this. I asked him, "Are you the owner?" He looked at me, and his smile became small. "No," he said. "I work here, but I am not the owner." I wanted to believe him. I wanted to keep my promise to my parents. At dinner the concierge brought a complimentary dessert and bowed to my husband. Other guests looked at us like we belonged. A child whispered to his mother, "Look, the man from the hotel." I felt eyes on us all night. My heart beat fast. I wondered why he hid his name and his role. My mind filled with doubt. The next day a paper arrived at our door with a formal reservation note. It showed a different name as the reservation holder. The note said no vacancy for change. Who really paid for our stay? I was confused and afraid. I opened my mouth to ask him, but the phone in the room rang. The voice on the line said one name and then hung up. I turned to him and asked, "Who called?" He kept his face calm. "No one important," he said. "Just business." I felt like I was walking on thin glass. I finished my tea and sat very still. I could not tell if I married a simple man or a man who had a big life. When he left the suite for a short meeting, I found a key card in the drawer with a different room number. My fingers shook. The key card had a small sticker that said Owner Suite. I held the card and felt the floor drop under me. What did he hide? Was it love or a test? The bell at the door rang. I froze. After the bell, the concierge walked in with a folder. He spoke quietly to me. "Madam, the reservation is complicated," he said. He placed a tidy stack of papers on the coffee table. One paper had my husband's full name and a note that said owner status confidential. I felt the air leave my chest. When my husband returned, he held his jacket and looked tired. He sat like a man who carried a heavy secret. I asked him again, "Why did you hide this?" He answered softly, "I wanted a normal life with you first." I wanted to believe this, but my trust was a thin thread. In the next days the truth changed our life. He began to control small things. He told the receptionist to place our breakfast at a certain time. He asked housekeeping to clean at strange hours. At first, it felt like thoughtful care. Then the care felt like a plan to watch me. He checked our reservation notes and called the concierge during dinners. He spoke in a different tone. He started to ask where I went and who I called. He said his love was strong, but his questions felt sharp. I began to feel small in the big suite. The lobby felt too open, and the hotel staff watched with polite faces. My borrowed freedom shrank. One night, after a quiet dinner, he opened a drawer and found my old letters. He read them slowly. I waited for the laugh of the man I had seen on the wedding night. Instead, he folded one letter and placed it in his pocket. "Why did you keep these?" he asked. "They are from an old friend," I said. "I do not want trouble." He put the letter down and said, "I will not let anyone harm you." His voice was firm. His hands shook. The next day, at checkout time, the receptionist said we could extend the stay as a courtesy. I looked at his face. He smiled, but it was different now. He had power and he used it to keep me at the resort. He said it was for our honeymoon. I felt trapped behind complimentary towels and small gifts. When my parents called, he took the phone and spoke in a calm voice. He told them not to worry. He said he would protect me and my family. My parents thanked him with relief. I wanted to tell them how I felt, but his words had already made their minds rest. That night he sat by the suite window and told me a story of a painful past. He said he had lost people who betrayed him. He said he had a promise to keep. He did not say he would ever hurt me. But I saw the change in his eyes. He had been kind, and now he looked like a man ready to use rules to keep safety. The next morning a note came under the door. It was from housekeeping. It said, "Please stay in your suite for now. Vacancy is low." The words felt like a gate closing. I held my phone and called my friend. She answered with a quiet voice and asked, "Aisha, are you okay?" I wanted to scream, but I only whispered, "I do not know." Then the door clicked open. Someone knocked twice. I pressed my palm to my chest and waited. I learned the full truth on the fourth day. My name is Aisha, and I always listen to my heart, even when I am afraid. That morning he left early and said he had a meeting in the owner's suite. The meeting was strange. He did not come back until late. When he returned, he was quiet. He sat and held my hand like a man who asked for forgiveness. He told me a long story about his life. He said he grew up poor. He said he built a small hotel business with hard work. He told me he used a false name to meet me as a normal man. "I wanted you to love me for myself," he said. His voice was soft. I felt my anger melt a little. Then he showed me a folder of photos. Some were of my own family at a festival. He said he had watched us for months because he wanted a partner who loved her family. I felt like a spy novel. My heart opened and then closed. He said he would do anything to protect me. He promised love and safety. At first, his words sounded true. He wanted to care for me. But later I found messages on his phone. Messages from men in dark suits. Plans about controlling a family property and buying stock in my father's small shop. He had not told me the business plan. He had used our wedding to secure a deal. He used his kindness to make my family trust him. The man I loved looked different in the light of money and plans. He had good parts, he was gentle, he bought me small gifts, he taught me the quiet places in the resort where we could walk alone. He saved my day when I lost my purse. He showed me the complimentary tea in the concierge room. But I found a paper that said he planned to change my father's land into a new amenity. He had a list with our names, dates, and a line that said "Ensure cooperation." The man who once opened doors with a smile now made lists and signs. He turned from a kind stranger to a man who used power. I felt betrayed and afraid. I decided to leave the suite. I packed my bag slowly and walked toward the checkout desk. The receptionist looked at me with kind eyes, but the concierge moved like a guard. My husband followed with a calm step and a long look. He held out his hand and said, "Do not go yet. Let us talk." I wanted to run. I wanted to call my parents and say, I was wrong. Yet my feet stayed in place. He spoke in soft, small words, and then his tone changed. He said, if you leave, you will hurt the people you love. I can stop the deal. But you must promise to stay and help me. I saw his plan. He used my love and my duty to my family as a tool. He had started as a good man, but he became a planner who could hurt others to reach his goal. I felt tears come. I stepped back and asked, what do you want from me? He smiled like a man who had won a long game and said, I want us to build something together. But you must trust me without secrets. I felt the world tilt. The lobby clock ticked loudly. A car horn sounded outside. Someone called my name in the corridor. I had to decide in one breath. Do I stay for family duty, or do I leave to keep my truth? I looked at him and whispered, who are you really? He did not answer. He only watched me with a face that held love and danger. The bell in the lobby rang like a question. I reached for the door handle. I walked out of the resort at noon. The sunlight felt sharp. My parents stood at the lobby entrance with worried faces. I told them everything. I told them I said yes to please them, and I told them about the hidden folder and the plan for their land. My father looked down and then up at me with slow tears. My husband came to speak to us. He said he still loved me. He said he turned cold because he feared losing his chance to protect us. He showed papers that proved he had helped my family before the wedding. He had fixed a small debt quietly. For a moment, I believed his good heart could save the bad plan. Then I remembered the messages and the list. A good person had become a man who used power. I chose my truth. I asked him to lead my parents' property and to stop the deal. He clenched his jaw and then signed a paper in the concierge office that said he would not touch our land. He left the resort with his suitcase. He looked like a man who had lost a game and kept one last face of love. I felt pain and relief at the same time. That night, I sat in my small room and wrote the truth to my friends. I learned a hard lesson. Duty is a kind hand, but truth is the path that keeps you whole. Do not hide your name, and do not accept secrets as love. Love must be open and kind, without plans to use your family. In the end I forgave him, but I did not let him into my life again. I called the concierge the next day and made a new, honest reservation for a job interview. I found work at a small school near the resort. I learned to love a life I chose, not a life chosen for me. The secret ended in the lobby where the receptionist gave me a small smile. I kept my promise to my parents, but I kept my truth first. If you ever say yes because others ask, remember to check the face behind the smile. Ask the question. Find the truth. Life will ask you to choose. I chose mine.